Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is your boy Mike, and this is my midweek Raptors conversation. my midweek Raptors podcast. Presented to you by just me. Do not have any sponsors. Maybe one day I will have sponsors. One of those things that you hope and dream of one day. One day I can be like it's a cup of noodles, macaroni and cheese craft has sponsored this podcast. One day you never know. But ultimately, we're here to always talk about the Raptors. I'm been contemplating. I'm gonna talk more other ball because I just released a video about the Lakers and the Clippers, and I just talking ball. And I'm really thinking of having a podcast called I Test because I think I'm listening to a lot of podcasts and a lot of them just talk about a lot of them base off their eye test. They don't really talk about analytics as much. But I just want myself, probably call my friends, to just talk about ball like we did before. Ball's just so interesting. I actually love this season so far. I love the competitive balance that we have. Of course, there's outliers like the Phoenix Suns, who I don't want to say I'm wrong yet. I don't want to say I'm wrong just yet. I want to wait maybe 30 games, maybe 50 games in. I want to say I'm wrong, but I did not expect this. I expect them to be a play-in team. I really did. I did not expect this. I expected more from Sacramento Kings, and I expected less from the Phoenix Suns. Other teams like the Lakers, it's funny enough, I didn't expect them to be a top six. I don't think I did it. I think when I made my video, I don't think I said top six. I think I said top eight. If anything, they'll probably be eighth. Because there's teams like the Pelicans, who I believe in, which I still believe in now. Even though the Lakers just beat the Pelicans, I still believe in them. Um, there's a lot of teams. I would say a lot of teams this year that I want to talk about my eye test. Some of the players that I'm seeing, some of the highlights that you're seeing, some of the standouts. I think that's like the Spurs and the Raptors just beat Spurs. Like Jakob Pertl has been such a favorite of many, which is hilarious to me. I don't know what his next contract's gonna look like, but he's been the way people talk about Jakob Pertl. The Raptors had him when they drafted him. They said Jakob Pertl was gonna be the most basically average player. If you rewatch the draft, I don't know who said it. I'm not sure if it was like Fran Fraschilla or whatever. I'm not sure if he said it, but someone said like this guy is not going to be amazing and he's not going to be bad. He's going to be right in the middle. And I think quite frankly, he's probably the most like average center we have in the league. But arguably enough, some people would say he's probably one of the more underrated ones because he can defend. A lot of people don't know he can defend. He's a rim protector. Offensively, isn't that gifted, but he's not horrible offensively. So just things like that. Like that's where my eye test podcast will be coming out soon. I don't know. We'll see. If the time allows for it. Ultimately speaking, let's go dive into our Raptors, our beloved Raptors, who honestly crushed the Spurs. The only thing I can say I'm mad about is I really didn't want the Spurs to score 100 points. That's just nitpicking, though. I really didn't want them to score 100 points. I kind of wanted it to be a blowout. And it was already a blowout, but I just kind of wish they just beat them, like just kind of crushed them. Didn't happen that way. It's okay. It's okay. 143 to 100 isn't pretty good for a Spurs team that, quite frankly, has been shocking everybody. They haven't been that bad at all. So the Spurs have been really good this season. And, Popovich said in the beginning of the year, don't expect us to be that good. I believe one of the reasons why they're good is because they're almost shocking teams. They play good defense. They're young, athletic, and, they're a great Popovich team. So I wouldn't expect them to drop off. They're not going to be great, but they're going to show some effort. And I think when you show effort for a Greg Popovich team, you're expected to get some wins. And I think that's why they have some wins currently. Now, the one thing we've seen is that, in the Spurs broadcast, they were talking about the Raptors, and they said, this is probably I think it was Sean Elliott who said, this is probably the best team that he's seen so far, And it's only like 7-8 games in. There's not a lot of teams, right? So the teams that they've seen Philly, they beat Philly. I don't believe they faced the Lakers, but he mentioned the Lakers. And he was saying like, oh, the fact that this team is one of the most well coached teams. They spread out, they move, they're long, they're athletic. Just like what I said about the Spurs, but probably more veteran leadership in the fact they have a Siakam and OG. And right now, currently, Fred is out, but they have those things. They still have the veteran presence in Otto Porter and Thad Young, who used to be a Spur. So things like that, I think, they see a lot of good out of this. And I think arguably the Spurs and the Raptors have a good relationship at the end of the day. Yeah, we got Kawhi, but they got some good years out of DeMar. And they got some really good years. I honestly think if DeMar and LaMarcus Aldridge won that first round series against the Blazers, they would have been the team that made it to the conference finals that year. And I think we'd arguably talk about LaMarcus a little different and DeMar a little different, and that Spurs run, that little brief Spurs run that they had. That's just my thought process. But, to not even dive into that game alone, this week the Raptors also had faced the Atlanta Hawks, who I have said multiple times, I'm not the biggest Trae Young fan. Just have never been. I know he's a good player. I know he's talented. Arguably probably the most talented guy between both teams. Like offensively talented. Because defensively, you have guys like Pascal, you have Scottie, just better talented players on both ends of the court. But Trae Young is dynamic. DeJounte Murray is a really good. I think DeJounte Murray is more of a number 3. I think he's like a Drew Holiday type. He's a number 3. I think if he was on like a team that was, expanding itself and like had a superstar player, I think it's better. But DeJounte is a number 2 right now for the Atlanta Hawks. I don't really see. That's why I kind of see that they're just almost like a two-headed point guard machine. Where I don't know where John Collins is all of a sudden. Once again, Eye Test podcast should be coming soon, maybe. I don't know. But where's John Collins at? Like, I'm going to see what's going on there. But I'm glad the Raptors had won that game. It was a good game. It was I wouldn't call it any statement game. But it was a game to show that the Atlanta Hawks aren't better than the Raptors. I think if this was a series, it'll probably go 6 games because Trae Young will get you some wins. I think the one thing that you've seen if it's a fully healthy Raptors, then I think you may put Fred on Trae. I think you win. I don't think you should. I think I like the fact that you put length on Trae. You put an OG on Trae. You put Scottie on Trae. You put length on him. And then you may have to hide Fred somewhere else, but I think it's one of the reasons why the Hawks couldn't play with the Raptors. To me, they couldn't. The length was too long. Those guys are too long. Right? When you're starting unit, your shortest guy is Gary Trent at 6'4", I believe. That's pretty long. And if you bench Gary Trent, you put a Precious on, your shortest guy's OG at a 6'7". Come on. Your point guard is Scottie at 6'8", 6'9". This is good. You have Coloco. This is good. So 2 really good wins. I know they faced Dallas. So that'll be, I think by the time this podcast will probably come out, maybe the time you're listening is a Friday. So they're going to face Dallas on Friday night. I believe that's a good, I think it's a back-to-back, is it? Is it back-to-back with them in Chicago? Maybe, no, I think that's Sunday. I think it's Sunday, Monday. It's a back-to-back with Chicago. But yeah, I think what a good week for the Raptors so far with beating Atlanta and beating the Spurs. The Spurs they're tanking, so it is what it is. Atlanta is a team that a lot of people said were better than the Raptors, so I'm more impressed by that win, especially without having a Fred VanVleet. Other news and notes to talk about is Otto Porter got his first run back. Congratulations to him. It's crazy when they say that, a guy's out for personal reasons, we all think, I thought negatively. I'm not going to lie. I think we all think negatively. We're like, what happened? I hope everyone's okay. But then you find out, his wife was pregnant and they had a baby. Oh, that's good. Congratulations. That's what it was? Oh, okay. I think we all thought a little different. I know for myself, I thought a little different. So I'm glad that it's exactly that great news to be parents. So congratulations to Otto Porter. He played. You can see once again, he's long as well. When he's on the team is long. This Raptor team is freaking long. They're just, oh man, these guys are long, man. They really are. So with that being said, with Otto Porter, good to see him play. It's the first game, so there's nothing to really talk about. I can't wait to see more of his game. I can't wait to see the rotations now of, once Fred especially gets back, how we're going to, bring in an Otto Porter. Are we going to really play a bench? I've realized what I think a lot of people have said, as much as I want Delano and Malachi to play, I think the team may be going into a different direction. I don't know. I'm very curious to see where it goes. It's still an 82 game season, so you never really know. But I'm kind of very curious to see what Nick Nurse is, you know, writing up in the book for all these players. But it's glad to see Otto Porter play. It was nice. Now we have our benches. It's getting more full, and what we all expected to have a pretty competent bench, it's happening. And one of the reasons that we have a competent bench is a guy who I said for my expectation was for this guy to be in the six man of the year conversation. Unfortunately, when it comes to six man of the year, they focus so much on offense and not focus on what they bring to the team, the energy they bring to the team, the defensive stance that they have. I shouldn't say stance, but defensive ability that they have. The offensive input, of course, as well. The energy, just like the energy counts, right? The we're down by three. This guy comes in and now we're up by seven. Like those type of things, and not just because he's scoring, it's because he's just a presence on the court, and that's Chris Boucher. I think Chris Boucher has been a highlight so far this year. I think he's been one of the better players this year. Hasn't really had a bad game. Has been pretty good every single game. I think he's really becoming, great in his role. Like he's becoming great. He was always good in his role, but now he's becoming great. I think after he realized what it's like to be a number one guy, I think his mentality changed. He said his mentality has changed, and he sees it. He sees the way he's playing, and he's like, you know what? This team doesn't need me to. I don't know why he thought that before, but this team doesn't need me to score 25 points a game. It needs me to bring the energy. It needs me to get charges. Kyle's not here no more. Who's gonna be the charge leader on the team? Like he's becoming that guy, and I think it's really nice to see when you have players like that who bring the energy. It's I think it just overall brings everyone up, right? I don't think we're having a great Precious season so far. I think some people I've heard some people think that Precious had a pretty good season. No, he hasn't. Not from the expectations that we had. Like we had some high expectations of Precious. Let me tell you, I think we all thought Precious was like, and it's funny because we do that for so much players. Like when OG had that season, like OG's he's gonna go crazy. Pascal's gonna go crazy. Norm, when he first had that playoff run as a rookie, we're like, oh, Norm's gonna go crazy. We should start Norm. Like we always have that expectation, and I think Precious hasn't filled that role yet. Will he eventually fill the role? We're hoping so. But as of right now, he has not filled that role at all. And it is what it is. Eventually he will. But Chris Boucher I think he's been fantastic. Simply fantastic. I think Chris Boucher, last game, I think against San Antonio, he scores 21. Like, he's averaging 11 points a game. His rebounding has been good. His tenacity, I'm saying the word wrong. His tenacity. Why am I not saying it right? I'm not saying it right. His ability to just overcome any odd on the court. His hunger. I like it. I like what we're seeing from Chris Boucher. I hope we can see this all season. He's easily the guy that you want coming off the bench first out of anyone because the way he's playing so good. I think I know Nick Nurse is seeing it as well. He's just playing so good. I'm very happy with what we're seeing with Chris Boucher. His ability, his 3-point shot has been pretty good to me. Every time I see him shoot, I feel like it's most of the time we've gone in. I haven't looked at his stats just of yet, but I know in saying that, I believe Chris Boucher has been pretty good. I'm just looking at the last game stats. Of course, it's not great. Yeah, he's 3 of 5. Chris Boucher, I'm telling you, man, he's been really good. A plus 22 last game, like 4 rebounds a game. Mind you, this overall the team, the way they're rebounding is a little different nowadays. But I like to see. I like what we're seeing. It says he's 6'9". I don't think Chris Boucher's 6'9". He's 200 pounds. But he's light. Let me tell you, he's a light. But I don't think he's 6'9". He looks a little taller than that. But what do I know, really? But he looks taller than that. Yeah, he has 3-point shots. See, right now it's a little crazy. It says 56%. It's early in the season, but I think he could be a 40% 3-point scorer, right? And yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with what we're seeing so far. 11 points a game is really good. Like, it's really good. 11 points a game, really good. It's kind of like the Tampa season, the Scottie Barnes season, we should call it. It's good. I like it. Chris Boucher's been a highlight. Now, the next topic I want to talk about is Fred and Fred hasn't played, right? I saw the question, brought up about should we trade Fred? The answer is hell no. The answer is hell no. You do not trade Fred. Fred is incredibly needed for this team. Fred is like the backbone of this team. Him and Pascal are like the leaders of this team on the court. Fred gets everyone organized. Fred is still the guy that, if I need a 3-point shot and it's him and Pascal that I want to, handle the ball. I don't want, as much as I want Scottie, I like the fact that Scottie's playing point guard. When the game needs it, I really want it to be, Fred or Pascal. That's what I want to see. I want to see Fred or Pascal handle the ball. And that's why we need Fred. I think Fred's probably the best 3-point shooter we still have on the team. I think he makes Pascal better in the sense of when Pascal's handling the ball, he has Gary, he has Fred, he has OG. One of those three guys he can give the ball to, and they can make a good play. You have Scottie who can help him as well. But all in all, I wouldn't trade Fred. Not right now. Unless you're getting, and I said it's funny that I said it last podcast. Unless you're getting an upgrade of a Fred, you don't trade Fred. So unless you get an upgrade of Fred, right? What I do see in Fred sitting out is that I think Scottie should just play point now. And it's weird because it's the way they play. Like, you need Scottie to pretty much almost be like a dual center with with everyone else, really. Play dual center with a Pascal and an OG. So that's what really needs to happen. But I really think maybe defensively you put Scottie at the 5, but offensively you put him at the 1, right? And it changes things. And then everyone kind of moves up. Then technically Gary Trent's the 3, and then Fred is the 2. But ultimately, like we've always said, for the Raptors, positions don't really matter. I just think when you put Scottie at the 1, you're bringing his best talents. Fred's best talents is off ball. There's a stat to say people whose usage has gone down, and Fred's number 1 in usage going down. I think a lot of it has to do with his points have gone down, but everyone's gone so much better. I think we've had a great Gary Trent Jr. season, a guy who we all put in trading rumors. He's averaging 20 points a game, and I think it's been needed. I think OG offensively hasn't been that great. We'll talk about OG defensively though. But all these guys haven't been. OG's been better as of late, but OG in the beginning wasn't that great. But Gary Trent's been the most consistent offensively. When you need a bucket, that's where Gary Trent has gone so much better. His mid-range has been really good. His 3-point shot been good. All those things. His ability to play with Pascal, good. So, and I always said, like, Gary Trent's so young. Eventually, sometimes you look at the future, and the future, if I look at the Bucks, Giannis, Chris Middleton, and then Drew Holiday. I don't know who your Giannis is, but if your Giannis, let's say, is Scottie, let's say in the future, you need a Chris Middleton. I think Chris Middleton has always and could have been a Gary Trent because of his ability to score the basket at all 3 levels. He's not really a post person or anything like that, but he can hit a floater, he can hit a midi, and he can hit a 3-point shot. That's pretty good. And that's what you want to see. But ultimately, with Fred sitting, what you're really highlighting is that you want Scottie to play more point. Him and Pascal play more point, which they're doing now. So it really doesn't matter. Like, the position really doesn't matter. But I think what can make Scottie and Pascal better is when they have Fred on the court, because Fred is such a lethal 3-point shooter, especially in the fourth quarter. I think Fred is so clutch in the fourth quarter. I don't know. I always want him on the court in the fourth quarter. Maybe not like driving the basket in or trying to shoot a jumper in the fourth quarter, but shooting a 3. I always believe in Fred's ability to get the ball in the basket, ultimately speaking. So something I also saw on Twitter was trade Fred or OG. Hell no. I'm not saying you don't trade anyone, because I do think this team needs this. The unfortunate part of Toronto is that the 5 best players are the 5 best players, and none of them are like big. Christian Koloko played a couple times now. He started twice in a row. Clearly, like, the coach wants to play big. You know, Nurse wants to play big. He likes the thought of having a center. I think we all do. I think it makes it much easier. That's why I always think of Clint Capella's. You know, if his contract wasn't so big to me, I would want a Clint Capella. I know everyone's talking about Jakob Poeltl, but Jakob Poeltl's gonna he may go for like a first or two, but I'm not too sure if the Spurs are really gonna want to trade him and not get like a first round pick out of that. That's where I see it. So, but all in all, what I feel like we're seeing is that this team's best five are the best five. So it's hard to kind of trade. Like you may have to trade one to get something spectacular, but if you're gonna get a center, because I think that's what the Raptors really need. I don't think they need a center, but if you want to get a center, then that's what. I think they just need. I think they need like a scorer. But if honestly, if Gary's giving you 20 points a game, you're okay. If Pascal's doing what he's doing, and then we're seeing the growth of and Scottie, and I can see why Nick wants Scottie to, kind of post up and play downhill. It makes sense. Like this team, honestly, just kind of let it ride. Right now, I know it's only 8 games, but I just think you let it ride. Would I like to upgrade potentially a bench in the sense of if I could put Malachi and Banton together, I would do that. Just make him one guy. They had a Jordan Clarkson off the bench who can like light someone up for 20 and play make. Like maybe that's what I would want, but you don't really have that. But you have an Otto Porter back, which I think is good. Thad Young, I think he may get traded now, which is unfortunate to say because I actually really like Thad Young. I hope I'm wrong. It seems like he doesn't really like the role he's playing. From what you see in Twitter landscape, I hope I'm completely wrong. Because I really like him as well. So right now I wouldn't trade anyone. So when I saw the Fred and OG, I'm like, nah, cut that noise. There's no trade. There's no trade happening. I like what I like, and I like what I'm seeing from everyone right now. Honestly, this team is 5-3. I don't know what record everyone expected. The East and West are just good. They're just good. It's going to be a dogfight for everyone. No one, like I said, only 2 teams are really standing out. Actually, I'll say 3. The Cavs are standing out. One loss with the Cavs is the Raptors. Remember that. Then you got Milwaukee and you got Phoenix. The 3 teams that are standing out. The team that won the championship last year, I think almost right now has like a freaking negative record. They're playing with no urgency. They're having their own problems. Like the team that everyone predicted to win in the Clippers not doing shit. Like Brooklyn Nets, another team that has its own mess. So it is what it is. Now, the last topic I want to talk about was OG. As we were just talking about him. OG defensively has been a menace. 5 steals in like the past 3 games? OG he said it, and honestly, this is the type of OG I want to see. Like, I think when all Raptors have this kind of mentality, when you gotta borderline be cocky. That's the one thing that Rico Hines had said about Pascal. You gotta be a little mean. You gotta be a little cocky. You gotta be a little like, no, I am this good. I am this good. Forget what anyone says. OG said, I was the best, I've been the best defensive player for a while now. Talk to them. Let them know. Let them know that you've been the best. You've been the best. You've been the best. And you just never got that respect. I don't know why all these players get all this respect over you. I don't get it. Thibault has 2 defensive coverages a game, and everyone's like, oh, he's the best thing we've seen since Scottie Pippen. Oh, I don't know what the hell that is. And I keep saying with OG, the best version of OG is this. A defensive menace who can do it all. Give you 15 points a game, but then guard the best player in the opposite team and shut him down. That's the best version of OG. Not this 25-point game scorer. I don't think that's OG. And I think that's okay. I think some people want it to be OG, but I'm telling you, the best version, everyone has to be the best version of themselves. The best version of Pascal is a facilitator who can get rebounds, run on transition. Pascal is not really a 30-point a game scorer. He's really not that type. Like Gary is a sharp shooter. Like that's him. So is Fred in some sense. Like they can shoot the ball. That's what they should be doing. Scottie can do it all as well. Scottie has more upside than what Pascal has because first he's younger, and if he gets stronger, then he could be even more dominant. like a potential Giannis, right? Not saying he's gonna be Giannis, but just that dominance is like Giannis. Then you have like OG, defensive ability, the 3 point. He's a two could be a two-way player, not a 3-and-D, a two-way player who can do both ends, right? Maybe not be two-way like a Paul George, maybe like a Clay, Clay, not even maybe lower than a Clay. That's why people say 3-and-D, but like I think he's better than 3-and-D because 3-and-D is like a kind of like some other players like a PJ Tucker. I don't think OG's like that. I think OG's better than that. But honestly, OG defensively, he I don't know what their defensive ranking is right now, who the defensive player of the year is. Some people really want to say it's Bam. I think when people already have who they want to win an award, like Christian Wood may win Sixth Man of the Year just because people have said he's going to win Sixth Man of the Year. Not if he deserves it or not, people have already penciled him in as potentially winning. If you don't have that mentality, if you don't think someone's already going to win, then there's so much, then the field is more wide open. But you just look at what OG's doing. Look what defensively this team is. And it's because I think the Raptors are great defensively because of what this guy is doing, right? Because of what OG is doing. Him and Fred like lead the league in steals, and I think that's gonna potentially be the case because OG's everywhere, right? OG's literally everywhere. So I'm very happy to see what OG's brought to this team. I'm not talking any trades unless Kevin Durant. Honestly, it has to be Kevin Durant type player. Then like we can trade OG for Kevin Durant or like a Shea. Those are two guys. Kevin Durant we can forget about. If Shea ever came, then we're talking. Like then there's a whole trade option there if you get a Shea. In all honesty, you may have to trade some draft picks. Maybe you're starting point guard. Maybe you're starting small forward, and yeah, maybe that's what you have to do to get Shea, right? Put Shea as that guy with Pascal and Scottie. That's where you got to see it. But that's it from me. Make sure you like, subscribe. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about OG's performance because I know it's been spectacular. I know everyone's enjoyed it. Tell me what you think about Pascal. I didn't talk about Pascal. I'm gonna leave that alone. Maybe for my weekly podcast, I bring up Pascal again because that's all I talk about is Pascal and the greatness that he has shown. Maybe I do it again. Who knows? But like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.